I'm Mark Graham from Grilla Grills. I'm here in our new expanded warehouse that we should be moving into shortly. So there's going to be some background noise, but hopefully we can work through that. Today I'm going to talk about the Traeger Elite 34 and the Grilla Grills Silverbac. The main reason I'm going to talk about the Elite 34 is because this is where most of our phone calls have been coming from, and I want to know the difference between them. I think the main reason is since we sell online only, customers don't have an opportunity to go out there and touch and feel, and so far as the construction, there's a little bit of a disconnect. So hopefully this video will help answer some of those questions. So the Traeger Elite 34 is an $899 unit versus the Silverbac, which is a $699 unit. Traeger has 646 square inches, or the Silverbac has a 692 square inch capacity, and that is utilizing the upper rack, which is obviously included in the grill. The Traeger has a standard for them is their 3-year warranty, where the Silverbac is a 4-year warranty on everything that's included. So let's get to some of the basics. We'll start first with a hopper. The Traeger has an 18-pound hopper, and the Silverbac, we have just over a 20-pound hopper, which in itself is not a huge difference. Probably the biggest thing for me is the workspace up top. When you got your plate and you got your sauce and spatula, you got a little more room to set some stuff down on here, where with a Traeger, you can get a plate on there and that's about all you're gonna get. All right, so let's talk about the basic construction of the grills. The Traeger uses a 13-gauge steel powder-coated lid. The Silverbac uses a 12-gauge all-weather stainless steel lid, which is about a 10% thicker material. On the body, they use an 18-gauge steel versus the Silverbac 16-gauge steel, which is about a 25% increase. One of the things that I always do if you don't know gauges and the thicknesses is simply tapping on the grills. That gives you a pretty good indication of the thickness of the steel. So let's talk about the controls here a minute. On the Traeger, they got their standard 25-degree increment dial indicator. It goes from basically 180 to a setting they have as high, which is a wide open auger on and off switch, and that's about the limit of that controls. The Grilla Grills control, we have a digital control that gives you the ability to go from 180 to 500 in 5-degree increments just by using your arrows. The other thing that we've added this year as a standard is the meat probe. So by plugging your meat probe into the socket here, running it through the rubber grommet and plugging it into your meat, throughout your cook, all you have to do is come out here, press the probe button, it'll indicate your meat temperature for 5 seconds and then go back to the normal grilling. So that way you don't have to open up your hopper or your lid and lose your smoke and heat, and it's a huge advantage for these long cooks. One of the other things that we are able to improve on is the cooking grates, which is where you do all your work. Traeger, they use 180 thou diameter steel wire that's ceramic coated, which is pretty standard for their product line. With the Silverbac and the Grilla as well, we use a 1/4 inch stainless steel grate, and they last pretty much forever and clean up very nicely. In the interior, you won't see on many other grills, we have an actual interior insulated layer of steel. What that does, it helps hold the heat in the grill, which gives you more ability to get to the higher temperatures in the cold weather. The other thing that we added to the Silverbac that's a nice advantage is we have a storage area to store utensils, pellets, or whatever else you might want to do to keep your deck clean. All right, so to wrap this up, you got the Traeger here, 3-year warranty, $899, versus the Silverbac, 4-year warranty, $699. We already talked about the gauges. We have basically a 25% thicker body, 10% thicker lid, better controls with built-in meat probe, and you get all of this and with everything I talked about for $699 delivered to your door. And on top of that, if you ever have any questions that are not being answered on the videos or on some of our websites postings, just give me a call. I'll be glad to talk to you and answer any other questions you may have. That was good. That felt good.